Monster Melee
Mind Flayer
versus
Drow Mage
rematch.
Hello everyone, welcome. I've been wanting to do this rematch for quite a while now. The Mind Flayer versus the Drow Mage. This is actually the second Monster Melee matchup that I ever did. So if you haven't watched the first one, it's worth checking out. I've gotten a little bit better at these since then, but it's still definitely a good one to watch. I'm particularly interested in trying this one out and using different tactics on behalf of the mage. Mages and spellcasters always are quite complex to run because of the different spell effects. So there's always a lot of different options to choose from, many different approaches you could take. And I think he can try some very different tactics this time and maybe have some better success against the Mind Flayer. But also he still could just die horribly because Mind Flayers are nasty things. Here's the general overview of these creatures, their stats, strengths, and weaknesses. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details because I already did that on the first match between these two. And once again, go check that out if you haven't seen it. I do go into more detail analyzing how these two operate in a fight. I'm really liking the new strategy I'm going to use with the Drow Mage. I think that if he can be just a little bit lucky, if fortune can favor him just a bit, like on the initiative roll or on his saving throws or on his chance to summon the Shadow Demon, he really could destroy this Mind Flayer, but it is going to take some luck. It always takes some luck, right? And just before we jump into this battle, I have a very exciting announcement. My 5e module, Eldritch Castle, is going to Kickstarter. This is an adventure module with animated dungeon rooms. It can be played for a group of characters like usual, or even for a solo character. So one of the characters is a wizard's apprentice, and the master, High Wizard Zdravno, has gone missing mysteriously. His arcane familiar sends a note to the apprentice talking about some kind of dreadful predicament that he is in, and the characters go to this gothic, strange, magical wizard's castle out in the forest and tries to unravel this mystery as to what happened to High Wizard Zdravno. It's very exploration based. There's a lot of puzzles. There are also monsters and lurking combat encounters. It really focuses a lot on the exploration and on the immersion. There are these really cool atmospheric scenes, dungeon rooms that get animated that the GM can either stream for the gaming group or just, play the actual video files. So it really gets everyone immersed as you all explore this magical and perilous wizard's castle. As of recording, it's in pre-launch. Guys, go to Kickstarter and follow the pre-launch page so we can really build momentum for this project. The Kickstarter will launch November 12th, and then you can back and pledge at whatever tier that you fancy. And I'm very stoked about this. Very excited to once again be rolling dice on Kickstarter. So the Bard is calling the banners. And go check that out, guys. The link is down in the video description. Okay, let's kick this off. Got an initiative roll, and the Mind Flayer has one initiative. The Mind Flayer moves toward the Drow Mage, glides over there, and it unleashes its Mind Blast. Unfortunately, the Drow Mage does not have proficiency with any saving throws. It's an intelligence save. He's got a +3, but a nat 5 is horribly not good enough, and he's stunned right off the bat. You know the thing I was saying where he needs to have some good fortune? Well, yeah, this ain't it. Okay, so we go to the Drow Mage's turn. He's stunned, so he can't take any actions. At the end of his turn, he'll make a repeated intelligence saving throw. He needs like a 12 or higher. Oh my gosh, and not 11. Well, we're probably going to do a best 2 out of 3 on this one because this is going to be over really fast. The Mind Flayer approaches the Drow Mage. I'll go ahead and check the recharge roll on the Mind Blast just to stay on top of that. Nat 1, okay. And the Mind Flayer will attack with its tentacles. It's got a nat 15, 22 easily hits, and it's over just like that. The tentacles latch onto the face. He face hugs the Drow Mage, does psychic damage, and the Drow Mage is just going to be stunned as long as it's grappled. And the Illithid is going to extract the brain of the Drow Mage. So how do you like that? Let's go on to match number 2. If the Drow Mage can just get a little bit of luck here, let's have them roll a new initiative. Okay, so the Drow Mage has one initiative this time. His first turn, he's going to cast Fly on himself, first of all. So he takes to the air and is going to get a good amount of distance between himself and that Mind Flayer. He needs to get out of Mind Blasting range. All right, so he will fly back there. The Mind Flayer, I don't think can muster that kind of mobility. So maybe move and hide or a dash. Let's go with dash. The Mind Flayer is trying to get close enough to Mind Blast the Drow. Go to the Drow's turn. He's going to attempt to summon a Shadow Demon. So he's got to roll a 50 or lower on a D100. And fails to summon the Shadow. If he could get that Shadow Demon, that would really help things. The Drow flies along swiftly, his pale hair trailing behind him as he goes. The Mind Flayer will attempt to get within range again. Nope, not happening. So this is going to be another dash for the Mind Flayer, and I think it will end just barely being able to see the, like the trailing legs and cloak of the Drow. The Drow looks over his shoulder, casting a 5th level magic missile. Hules força! 7 darts of force streak out, blasting the Mind Flayer for 23 damage. That is a decent chunk of damage, knocking down the Mind Flayer into the yellow, and then the Drow can fly 60 feet. This is a really, really nice amount of mobility. What's the Mind Flayer thinking at this point? He's not able to get within range to Mind Blast this Drow yet. So is he thinking he might just chase him down and corner him? The Mind Flayer could try to hide and wait, but I don't know why the Drow would try to go back and engage him at closer range. That doesn't make any sense. And so they would just both remain at a distance from each other, and after a few rounds of just hiding and doing nothing, I would just call the fight, and I'd give the win to the Drow Mage because he inflicted the most damage. He succeeded the most. I think this really is the best tactic for defeating a Mind Flayer. Just stay far away from it, like more than 60 feet away from it, and hit it from very long range, because it doesn't have anything beyond 60 feet. And the closer it gets to you, the worse it gets, because the Mind Blast can stun and deal the psychic damage. And then if it gets in melee and it hits you with the tentacles, you get grappled, and you're stunned as long as you're grappled. And if there are no allies there to get you out of that grapple or to take down the Mind Flayer, then you're doomed. So I'm gonna have the Mind Flayer chase at least for, maybe a couple more rounds here. I mean, it can dash and get to where it can see the Drow. It sees the Drow flying, but he just can never quite get close enough, because that was his action to get himself there. Drow's turn. So I think he's going to want to assess his situation. Maybe he'll fly out a bit here just to be able to look better, to have a better view. And, he can see these giant spider webs, and potentially you can get restrained in those webs. There is this tunnel heading over that way, which goes into mysterious cave tunnels and chambers. I think he's just going to tell the Mind Flayer to eat another 5th level magic missile. Hules força! The Mind Flayer is struck for 27 force damage. And it's already down into the red, or maybe an orange red. Drow's going to fly along, like hugging as close as he can to the face of this rock formation, and hopes the Mind Flayer won't be able to see him with just a regular move speed. 30 feet is to there. Yeah, I don't think the Mind Flayer can see him. I think the rock formation is giving full cover. I don't know why he would. He's quite wounded. One more, like even a 4th level magic missile will probably take him down, or have a good chance of taking him down. Yeah, I think he'll probably plane shift. So he can only plane shift himself. Can't get anyone else. And the Mind Flayer travels through extra planar byways and gets out of there. He is not going to stick around to just get destroyed by this Drow. By the way, what do you guys think of the display that I'm using on this one? I decided to try a different interface for you guys where it's not cluttered with anything. You're only just seeing the battle map and the tokens. Do you like seeing that chat log? Kind of a double-edged sword. It's cool seeing the numbers displaying there. It can be helpful, but at the same time, it's like a thing that's blocking part of the view. For the third and final match, let's try things a little bit differently. I'm going to move the 2 combatants a little more towards the center of the cave of the giant spiders here. So let's go on and roll initiative for the third and final match. It's a close one on the initiative, but the Drow Mage has won. Okay, he casts flying, of course, and he will fly to just get around the bulge of that rock formation there. And we'll go to the Mind Flayer's turn, who will be dashing like such onto the Drow Mage, hoping to summon that Shadow Demon, looking for 1 through 50 on a D percentile. 12. This time he got the Shadow Demon, finally. And he summons the Shadow Demon right next to the Mind Flayer. It's an incorporeal flying demon. Let's put it into initiative here. Looks like it's going to be last. I think he'll move past or through the ghostly demon thing. It will make an attack of opportunity as he moves away. I think he's just going to try to focus on the Drow for the time being. Nat 7, it has a 12 to hit. Not enough. Mind Flayer's got an AC of 15, and his dash will take him right there under the flying Drow Mage. He speaks in his misbegotten, aberrant tongue, all sorts of dooms and swears against the Drow. Shadow Demon's fly speed is 30. The Drow is commanding it to destroy the aberration, so it must dash to get right on the tail of the Mind Flayer. And to the Drow's turn, well, I'm thinking he will need to dash, right? Well, he could move Ray of Frost and then Misty Step. So he'll move, 60 feet there and then cast a Ray of Frost at the Mind Flayer. That 16 will hit. This is going to be 13 cold damage and minus 10 speed, actually. And then the Drow will use a bonus action to Misty Step and get just like standing, probably crouching low atop this higher stony shelf. So he's up there like 30 feet off of the ground, out of sight of the Mind Flayer. Mind Flayer, I think he's gonna have to deal with the Shadow Demon. I think he's gonna deal with the Shadow Demon, and the Drow's gonna be tricky. So he'll Mind Blast on the Shadow Demon. There's 4d8 plus 4 psychic damage. That's 23. Shadow Demon makes an int save for potentially half. Nat 4 is certainly not going to do it, and it's going to take the 23 psychic and be stunned. Whoops, a little bit more. There we go. The wraith-like demon has been assailed sufficiently that it is kind of stupefied and reeling. The Mind Flayer will come back here to get up against this rock formation for however much cover he can. Shadow Demon at the end of its turn will make a repeated int save against the stun. Nat 9 is surely not going to do it. So is there a way for the Drow Mage to fly out enough to where he can see the Mind Flayer, but then still have some speed to come back and return to full cover, like crouching or maybe even falling prone up on the shelf? He'll come to like there, and that looks like there's got to be some kind of cover. All right, so I'm just like drawing lines on the VTT here. I'm going to say there's 3/4 cover for the Mind Flayer, but hey, that's still enough for a magic missile to work. It was a nice try, Mind Flayer, but it wasn't good enough. So here's a 5th level magic missile, 7 darts of force. 32 force damage to the Mind Flayer, already down into the orange, and the Drow still has enough flying speed to come back, crouch low, and have full cover due to the stony upper shelf. We're back to the Mind Flayer's turn, and guys, I gotta say, he's not gonna stick around for this. It's kind of a hopeless situation. If only the Mind Flayers had some sort of invisibility, like an innate psionic invisibility spell, even that, or even just like a really good stealth check would be very nice. It would complement them because they want to get in close. It is proficient in stealth. It has a +4, so I guess it's not terrible at stealth, but not enough to really make full usage of the utter nastiness that its tentacles and its Mind Blast can afflict. So once again, the Mind Flayer plane shifts and escapes, flees for his life, really is what he's doing. The best 2 out of 3 goes to the Drow Mage. Congratulations, well done. You've done what mages are best at doing, which is keep the enemy from being able to affect you. Meanwhile, you either blast them or cripple them with status effects so that they can't even operate. Huzzah to the Drow Mage. Well done. You got your vengeance with some better tactics. Thanks everybody for watching. This was a long time coming doing this rematch, and I had quite a bit of fun with it. Make sure to please go check out the Kickstarter for Eldritch Castle. Show me some love there. Also, I want to say thank you very much to all of my supporters over on Patreon. You guys really help make this channel everything that it is. In particular, Adam Wood, Nick, Thy Pirate King, Jared Primont, Locke, Nicholas A., Technicolor Shale, Robert Brescini, Ben R., Till Wrench, and Tornado. Until next time, everybody, may your adventures be many.